claim on this issue of reparations for slavery, and trying to sort of establish some uniqueness for his campaign based on that. Let's play a little bit of him earlier on CNN defending that stance and contrasting it with one Bernie Sanders and his stance on things like Medicare for all. Let's take a listen.
It's interesting to me that when it comes to Medicare for all health care, you know, the response there has been, we need to write a big check. That when it comes to tuition-free or debt-free college, the answer has been, we need to write a big check. And so if the issue is compensating the descendants of slaves, I don't think that the argument about writing a big check ought to be the argument that you make if you're making an argument that a big check needs to be written for a whole bunch of other stuff.
Let me actually, I'm going to come to Jason first and then Tiffany. Is that kind of an argument resonating when you're talking with voters?
Well, it does. It's funny. Castro's sort of explanations, I showed some of those to my students when he talks about reparations. And, you know, to the degree that my Morgan State students are kind of a small focus group, they've been impressed. But I think what it also speaks to is this. The greatest weakness in Bernie Sanders' campaign is his inability to connect with many African-American voters. Now, I know people are going to scream and they're going to be mad, but look at it. A lot of his black staff from 2016 aren't back. He still doesn't poll well with African-American voters in South Carolina. So if reparations is a particular wedge issue that you can use to knock out one of the pillars of Bernie Sanders' sort of current frontrunner status, that's what you're supposed to use. And I'll also say this. There are tons of people out there that have studied reparations. The idea that Bernie keeps saying, I'm a revolutionary, but at the same time can't figure out how to do reparations, that didn't impress me either. And I don't expect to get a check anytime soon.
Rest in peace to your mentions, Jason. Your mentions, God bless them. Pour a little bit out for them.
I'm ready.
They have been ethered. I wouldn't go on Twitter if I were you for about like 4 days. Let me go back to Tiffany Cross now. I'm just saying. You know, the biography
Jason, that was really dumb, Jason.
Yeah, I don't know. You don't like Twitter. You just don't want to be on Twitter. You just get off Twitter now. If
it's not that, it's Tiffany. So I'm pretty much...
Either way. And Game of Thrones is coming back and you don't know anything about it. So you got a lot of problems.
Right.
Let me go to Tiffany Cross. Is there any, I mean, the fight for the African-American vote is real. I mean, you have Elizabeth Warren making a lot of case for it. You have Beto coming in, who ran pretty strongly among African-Americans in Texas. You have Bernie Sanders trying to re-up his biography. Of course, doing it in Brooklyn is probably complicated because of all that happened, like Howard Beach and that era of the civil rights movement where he was not a part of it. Does anyone have kind of an inside track right now? Because you have Kamala Harris and Cory Booker in the race and Julian Castro now going for it.
Well, I think the question that black voters are asking is not how black are you, but how black are your policies? And the fact that people do have some questions about, you know, everybody from Cory Booker and Senator Kamala Harris. I mean, it shows that black people are not a homogenous group. And if you've been under the impression that, oh, well, black voters will just follow the black candidate, that's proven to be not the case this time around. So I think it's great that people have to work to get black voters, and people have to, you know, we're separated geographically, education, you know, by our education, our socioeconomic status, et cetera. So our interests are different. And I think Julian Castro does not get enough attention. He's done a great job of making his case to minorities, including black and Hispanic votes. And I wish that he would get more attention across all the networks.
All right. Jimmy and Tiffany will be back. Jason Johnson is going to be creating a brand new Twitter profile so that none of y'all that are anchored in can find him. And up next, it's time for Who Won the Week.